You're probably just like me, probably wanted to make some quick money and decided to turn to the stock market. Of course, you heard a lot of good things, bad things about it, and decided to at least give it a try. I would say during my beginning stage, I developed a lot of great knowledge on how the stock market works, and I decided to share with some of you guys that are deciding to start out on the stock market that are new, just like me, and looking for some ways and ideas and strategies on to get started on the stock market. During that whole year period of me learning, of course it was never perfect. I've done lost money doing some, of course, amateur moves that of course every amateur make. I'm here to tell some of you amateurs that are here beginning to trade on the stock market some mistakes that I've made that I fixed currently up to today's date that I would like to share with you guys. First off, I want to start off by saying that the stock market is a place that you can lose money. The stock market moves in various ways. I always like to think that the stock market has its own behaviors. The stock market can always rise, it can always drop, and of course that affects the stock market prices as well. But that's never the case. Every stock has its own behaviors. Some of the stocks, they don't really depend on how the, let's say, Dow Jones or S&P 500 is working. They all work on their own various ways. So if you're going to start off on the stock market, I'm going to tell you right now, if you are afraid of losing money or even betting money, I would highly suggest this is not for you. Now, since you guys are almost ready to begin starting on the stock market, there's one question that you need to ask yourself. Do you have enough money that you can fall back off? So say if you invest $200 into the stock market, right? You're never, like I said, you're never really guaranteed to earn that money back. It's always a probability of you gaining it back and losing it. That's how the stock market is. It's always chances, probability. That's all it works off of. Say if you invest that $200 and you just lose it. Can you fall back? Will you be able to recover from it? Do you have another 200 that you can just have in your account just in case if you lose it? You never want to start on the stock market. You never want to start investing into the stock market if you don't have additional funds available. What I mean by that is that you don't want to invest the money that you use every day. For an example, you want to have money like in the savings account, for an example. So later, if you lose that money and you still need money to pay your bills, for an example, you have money there sitting for you. You don't want to go ahead and take that money out just to invest it and lose it, especially if you don't know what. For some of you guys that are looking for ways to even save money, you guys can check out one of my videos, my top 5 ways on saving money. I'll put the link right up there. You guys go ahead and check it out. I did previously explain 5 great ways for you guys to save money if you guys are looking for different ways and different ideas on saving money, of course. So before you jump right in, also you need to learn when to take your losses and when to take your wins. Of course, you also need to learn to not be greedy when it comes to the stock market. When you guys are beginning to invest into stocks, the program that you use, it does matter. Certain programs are slower when it comes to registering the stock market, the stock prices. Like certain programs that I use to start off, for an example. Of course, every person that started off probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. Robinhood was actually one of the programs that I used to start off. It was by far one of the most cleanest AIs. It was one of the most cleanest programs to by far use to understand the way the stock market works, understand the candlestick, of course, the green and the red line, of course, the way it works. And I also like to use Robinhood, especially to do future analysis. Like I like to see and make predictions on like different moves that I can make later in the future. Of course, you have a program called TOS, Thinkorswim, which is one program that is highly used, especially it's one of the fastest. Of course, it's one of the most fastest programs when it comes to registering option prices as well. It is one program that I use as well. I do use both Robinhood and TOS, but I use TOS for more of my day trading. Of course, it is the program with the less restrictions, of course, which brings me to my next point, of course. When you guys are beginning to invest into different stocks, you want to make sure that you're investing into the stocks that are worthy of your money. What I mean by that, of course, is investing into the stocks that are good movers. For an example, Nike, let's say Microsoft, AMD, Best Buy. Of course, different stocks, and of course, don't invest into these certain stocks that I'm naming. Of course, of the time that I'm naming them now, which is today, April 24th of 2020. Of course, the stock market is a little bit of a fluctuating point. Of course, certain stocks that I did name aren't really the best choices right now, especially with lockdowns and certain things like that that's going on. So of course you want to be really careful of your choices that you're going to be making within the stock market itself. So of course you want to make a perfect watch list. What I mean by that, you want to make a watch list of certain stocks that you know to your deepest gut that are really good movers and that you can profit off. Like, so I can name certain ones that I would like to profit off of. One great one, of course, is Microsoft. Another great one would be Apple. These are certain stocks that are really great, especially in these certain times, that are really good to invest in, such as, of course, Netflix, which is what everybody's using nowadays. Of course, hint, which is one great thing to look upon when making your strategy. So the stock, like I said, the stock market is always going up and down. If you see that your stock market, or you see that stock price that you have is going down, but you have it for a long period of time, don't panic sell. What I mean by that, do not see that it's going down. You see that your money is going down. Look at the time that you have it. Look how long that you have to see if that's going to reverse. The stock market is always going to, that price is always going to reverse. It's always going to go down to make a greater comeback. That's one thing to always remind yourself of, especially if you're doing long-term investments, which is one thing I do personally. Of course, you have to pick what. So what I mean by a long-term investor, of course, the different type of strategy you're going to be using. So you have two different little branches of strategies. You have your short-term strategies and your long-term strategy. You, of course, determine which type of strategy you want to make depending on what type of trader you are. So for me, I like to hold I don't have a lot of money to spend on, let's say, daily trading, for an example. Of course, you can start off. For an example, you can start off with $200 within the stock market, and you can double that money within the same day or within the same week. That's if, of course, you're playing your cards really smart. You're not really doing, of course, nonsense. So, of course, one thing I would also recommend is if you have friends that are within the stock market, ask questions. Always asking questions is a great thing. That's how you learn. If you're always confused or you don't know something about the stock market, ask questions. Or even if you guys know, of course, there are a bunch of different trading groups. I'm even part of one. I pay maybe about $50 a month, but the trading group, it helps me make hundreds or more on top of that. So I'll make my $50 on top of whatever else I make within the week. So of course, it's being smart, making the great possible friends that you can make as well, and also trading together and trading smart. So of course, I want to give you guys a quick breakdown of long-term and short-term. Of course, what I mean by that, of course, when you're doing short-term investments, of course, you're investing, let's say today is April 24th, for an example. Of course, say the next week you're investing into a short-term stock for May 1st, for an example. So of course, you're betting on that specific date. So that specific date is the ending time for that whole week. So the beginning of that trading week, of course, is Monday. The ending of that trading week is Friday. That's how long that specific option lasts. Now that I have it all down pat, I was able to understand how the stock market works, understand what type of strategy I want to use, and of course predicting certain points that I have in my watch list. Of course, you want to learn how to do it yourself and understand, of course, how it's going to work, so you don't have to depend on anybody else. And at a later point, when you're left by yourself, then you know how to do it yourself. That's how I always like to learn, and I hope you guys learned it from that. Boom. Of course, you always want to have a goal when you're in the stock market. Like for me, I have two different profiles. Like I said, since I use both Robinhood and TOS, I have two different portfolios. Of course, one is a long-term portfolio, one is a short-term portfolio. Of course, one is more of a gamble. Of course, the short-term is more of a gamble than my long-term. But I do profit from both. Of course, making long terms based off my short terms, of course, making it both hand in hand, being a little smart with my trading. And of course, I hope you guys can actually take that for your trading as well. If you guys can and be able to manage two different programs and two different portfolios at the same time. But like I said, I've started off maybe with about $300 in each profile, and I probably already grew them maybe twice times than what I had them from maybe about last month when I first started, because I was banned from Robinhood since I was a noob. But I hope you guys learned something, guys. I'm gonna at least share some of the rookie mistakes that I made that I hope you guys don't make. Of course, do not panic sell if you are long-term selling. Don't do it. I made that mistake. My freaking Microsoft, it went down and it jumped up $100 and I lost that. I didn't do it. I missed out on a lot. Trust me. From all that noob mistakes. I missed out a lot on great trades from just being restricted, from of course making stupidity moves, and of course it's learning moves. I can't really say it's stupidity because I learned now, and I'm sharing it with you, of the mistakes that I made. That now that I'm profiting and making smart moves, that you guys can actually take that for, of course, for your knowledge as well. And I hope you guys learn. I hope you guys can actually share with your friends as well. Of course, always sharing with your friends. Of course, having them help you and understand what you're doing and grow together. Of course, two is better than one. Always have that. Always have a great friend. Or if you want to do it yourself, take all the profit for yourself. Whatever. Everybody's different. Hope you guys learned something, and hope you guys can take something. Hope you guys share the video and like. Also subscribe to the channel, because I would have a whole bunch of different content coming for you guys. And I hope you guys are staying healthy and staying safe. And I hope you guys will tune into my next video, guys. Stay safe.